Hey, I'm Nate,
I'm Jonathan.
and this is our 2016 NFL mock draft. And we are not Mel Kiper and Tom McShay, but we do look better than them.
This is Project Polygon.
A couple of rules for the Project Polygon NFL mock draft. First rule is we're not going to take into account trades other than the ones that's already been traded. So even though there more than likely will be trades on draft night, we're not going to go by that. And we're going to kind of keep each pick short and sweet and give a little info about each pick and why we picked them. And we're not picking who we would pick. We're picking who we think they will pick. So, as the GM of the Los Angeles Rams, Jonathan Strickland, you had the first pick and you are on the clock.
Number one pick, Los Angeles Rams. Note I said Los Angeles, not St. Louis.
Did I say St. Louis?
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
Los Angeles Rams, they got the pick from the Tennessee Titans. They pick Jared Goff, quarterback from California. And the reason this is they absolutely need a quarterback, and Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the NFL draft this year. He's number one on most teams' draft boards. They definitely pick Goff number one.
Yeah, I don't think they would. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's definitely one of the two. They didn't move to the first pick to draft anybody else. But I also think Jared Goff is the best QB in this class, and I don't think he's head above water better than Carson Wentz. I don't think any of them or either of them deserve to be the top two picks. But that's probably the way it's going to come out. And so, as the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles, I traded all my picks away to go grab the second best quarterback, which is Carson Wentz from North Dakota State. Now, the thing about him is he's very big, and he reminds you, if you watch him play, and keep in mind, he played for North Dakota State. So the people he played were very, very small compared to teams that Jared Goff played. But when you watch him play, he's very big. His size, his strength, everything, and you hear from Philadelphia, that's what they love about him. So he kind of reminds you, size-wise, of Cam Newton.
I think they simply need a long-term quarterback because Mark Sanchez is Mark Sanchez.
They traded Mark Sanchez to the Broncos, but Sam Bradford is Sam Bradford.
Oh, sorry, Sam Bradford. My mistake.
Yeah.
Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford is Sam Bradford. And they need a long-term quarterback, and Sam Bradford, old shaky knees, Sam Bradford's not that guy.
Yeah, and I think they'll trade him too.
I think they will. Number 3, San Diego Chargers. I'm going to take, and I may screw this pronunciation up because I never remembered how to pronounce his first name, but Laremy Tunsil.
Laremy Tunsil.
Offensive tackle from Ole Miss. I think, I think they jump over Jalen Ramsey. They don't take Jalen Ramsey, but they need to keep Phillip Rivers safe. They need to put a big man up on that offensive line, and Tunsil's that man.
Yeah, and Tunsil's clearly the best offensive tackle in this class. And if you watched any of the Chargers games last year, you kind of felt bad for Phillip Rivers, which I never do, but I felt bad for him last season. So, yeah, I think that's a good pick to go get Tunsil. It was either him or Jalen Ramsey because they do need safety help, especially with Eric Weddle gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they play it safe, and they'll probably address, the safety position in the later round.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a good pick. All right, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Dallas Cowboys has an awful defense. They need help on defense, but we here at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, or AT&T Stadium, I'm sorry, we like shaking up things. So should I pick Ezekiel Elliott? No, I'm not, because I'm going to address the defensive line. It's time to replace DeMarcus Ware. That's why we're going who I think is the best player in the draft with Joey Bosa, defensive end from the Ohio State. And he is nasty, he's mean, and he can overpower anybody you put in front of him. And that's exactly what they need, if you ask me.
Well,
and they had many options. They had Miles Jack. Basically they have any defensive player they want in front of them. And I really think when you have a luxury of picking between Bosa, Ramsey, or Jack, Miles Jack, or whatever, you're in a good position. So I definitely go with Joey Bosa. What you think about that?
I think that that pick surprises me a little bit, just because I think if Jalen Ramsey's on the board, you pick Jalen Ramsey. But Joey Bosa is a good pick for anyone who needs help on the defensive line, especially also, pass rush.
Also, keep in mind, Greg Hardy's gone, and Randy Gregory is suspended. I think he's suspended 4 games, so they're gonna have to address it some way.
That's true.
Why not just take the best defensive end in the draft? Is the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
But they are the Cowboys, and they may even pick Paxton Lynch this early, but we'll see.
And with that pick at number 4, if I'm the Jaguars.
At number 5, Jacksonville Jaguars.
At number 5,
super fan
if I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cowboys pick Joey Bosa at number 4, I'm going to pick Jalen Ramsey at number 5.
Yeah, I knew that.
Because, like I said, if Jalen Ramsey's on the board, you pick Jalen Ramsey. Now, obviously, it may not fall this way because you never know what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do. But Jalen Ramsey would fill a huge hole for Jacksonville's secondary. And Jacksonville has a couple of huge holes in that secondary. But Jalen Ramsey would fill the biggest hole that they have on that defense.
Yeah, I agree. Ramsey is definitely the most physical player in this draft. The only worry I have is that he only had 3 career interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have really great hands, but as long as you're breaking up passes, you could overlook that. So we're moving on to number 6, the Baltimore Ravens. Now they need help offensive tackle-wise. They need defensive line help. They need outside linebackers. They need cornerbacks. A lot of people may pick either Ronnie Stanley or Miles Jack here. I'm not going to pick either of those two. I'm going to surprise a little bit. Well, not really much of a surprise. But since the Dallas Cowboys got Joey Bosa, I'm going to get the next best thing, which is DeForest Buckner from Oregon. He's hard to move off the edge. So offensive tackles are going to have a tough time with him, blocking them or doing whatever. And he could get in the backfield as better than anybody in this draft. So I think they overlook the offensive tackle position and just go straight for defensive end, DeForest Buckner.
I think they're definitely going to go for a defensive end. So after Joey Bosa, I say DeForest Buckner is the next best defensive end in this draft. And I say if the Ravens can't get Joey Bosa, if he's gone earlier, they definitely pick DeForest Buckner for the same reasons that you listed above. I think that's a great pick. I think number 7, San Francisco 49ers. I think they go with Paxton Lynch, quarterback from Memphis.
Oh, really now?
I do.
That's a surprise.
I don't think personally that Lynch deserves this spot so early in the draft. 3 quarterbacks in the top of this draft may not make a lot of sense to a lot of people, but you're talking about Chip Kelly's San Francisco 49ers. I think they are going to try to trade Colin Kaepernick, and they're going to go with Paxton Lynch at quarterback. That's what I think, to get rid of that hole that they're going to get from trading Colin Kaepernick.
Now let me ask you this, because I think this is a huge reach. And I know ideally they would probably try to trade back. Do you think this would justify his spot right here at number 7? You think that's a good spot for him? Or do you think they're overreaching?
For Paxton Lynch, I think the 49ers will reach a long shot here.
Okay. Yeah, I did too. I didn't even, well, we'll get to that. So, okay. So, with number 8, Cleveland Browns. Okay, I could just pick anybody in the draft and it would immediately upgrade to Cleveland Browns. You make it easier. I wasn't going to pick Paxton Lynch anyways, but you make it easier for me now, and I'm glad you did, so I don't have to pick him. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't going to. But you could look at wide receiver for Cleveland Browns. They need a wide receiver, but this is too early for anybody. They can even go Ezekiel Elliott, but then again, I think this is too early. Ideally, you would think that Cleveland would trade back again and acquire more picks. It looks like the new people in charge like doing that. But if I'm stuck right here and I'm Cleveland Browns, I'm going to take the best player available. And he also happens to be the second best offensive tackle, and that's Ronnie Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing about Ronnie Stanley is his footwork is amazing. And he can hang with the fastest defensive ends, fastest outside linebackers of them all. And now I know this ain't a splashy pick or whatever, but I think when you're trying to, obviously they're trying to rebuild that team, the way to do it is to, and you got RG3 back there now, and we know about his injury history, so you need to take care of him. You got Joe Thomas on the left side, you put Ronnie Stanley on the right side, eventually he'll develop into a left tackle. But I think that would be the safest pick if you were the Cleveland Browns sitting at number 8.
And
what do you think about that?
I agree. He is the best player available at this point in the draft. I think if basically what I just said, he's the best player available. If they don't have a player like Joey Bosa or DeForest Buckner at this point in the draft, I think they definitely go Ronnie Stanley here, number 8. Number 9, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're going to address a big hole that they have as well with Vernon Hargreaves, cornerback from Florida. Arguably the second best cornerback in this draft. And the Buccaneers gave up the 5th most passing touchdowns last season. So obviously they need help in the secondary. I think at this point Vernon Hargreaves is the best option for them to pick. I think he's the best player for the position that they need to cover at this point in the draft.
Yeah, he can mirror receivers. He's a perfect man-to-man corner, and that's exactly what you need when you're in a division with Cam and Drew Brees and Matt Ryan. So I don't dislike that pick. I think that was if they wanted a cornerback, that's a very good cornerback to get. The second best cornerback of them all. And with the number 10 pick, the New York Giants. I know everybody's mocking Ezekiel Elliott here. The problem is, let's go ahead and build that defense back up. The offense was no problem. Okay, you could go offensive line here. I think they really want Ronnie Stanley, but he's gone to the Cleveland Browns. So let's look at maybe a steal at this point. Let's go with Miles Jack from UCLA, outside linebacker. And there's no question, and he's probably not going to last this long, but there's no question that if the injury concerns weren't there, he'd be much higher. But I think right now the New York Giants feel if he's sitting on the board, they're going to run to the podium and take him.
Yeah, see, at this point in the draft, actually, myself, I had the Giants taking Ronnie Stanley. But if Ronnie Stanley is gone at this point in the draft and Miles Jack is available, I also think they take Miles Jack because if you look at their season last year, the Giants had a pretty potent offense. They scored a lot of points, but their defense gave up a lot of points. So like you said, build on that defense, and Miles Jack is a future star of this league. I say you pick Miles Jack. I think that's a good decision. Build that defense. With that said, number 11, Chicago Bears. I think you go with another outside linebacker in Leonard Floyd from Georgia.
I like it.
The Chicago Bears, simply enough, need to beef up their pass rush. They didn't have a lot of sacks last year. They gave up a lot of passing touchdowns. So you need to generate a solid pass rush. And Leonard Floyd from Georgia, I think it's the guy that can give you that intensity from the outside linebacker position.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd is definitely a guy that can probably, who knows, 5 years now, he could probably even be better than Miles Jack. And if Miles Jack was gone, I had New York Giants picking Leonard Floyd. But Floyd is a dynamic outside linebacker, and he's going to be real good in the pros. And if the Chicago Bears get him, he's going to fit that system well. And from then on, you're probably looking at an all-pro linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I say. Okay, the number 12 pick, New Orleans Saints. Did you watch them play last year?
I did watch them play.
Okay, did you notice something about their defense?
I know
sucked.
Their defense sucked, yes.
Yes. So, you can go anywhere you want. But right now, and this might be a reach, and I know a lot of people say, man, Sheldon Rankins is better, but I like Jerron Reed, defensive tackle. And the reason why I do, and he's from Alabama, the reason why I do is he's so big and he's a run stopper. And he can penetrate the offensive line and make ways for the linebackers to get to the quarterback. So I like Jerron Reed out of Alabama for the New Orleans Saints.
And I think that's a good pick. Their defense was really bad. They didn't have any presence of a pass rush. Their secondary at some points would shine, but their front seven just failed to deliver all year last year. I actually had the Saints picking another defensive lineman at this point, but I think Jerron Reed is a solid choice to give them that presence that they need on the defensive line. Number 13, Miami Dolphins. I have them picking Ezekiel Elliott, running back from Ohio State. I think Ezekiel Elliott would have gone to the Eagles had the Eagles stayed where they were at number 8. But Ezekiel Elliott is a 3-down running back. Ryan Tannehill needs pressure off of him. So I think Ezekiel Elliott is the guy that can relieve that pressure off of Tannehill and deliver from that that running back position, especially being a solid 3-down back.
Yeah, and they also lost Lamar Miller.
You're right, they lost Lamar Miller. So they have a hole they need to fill. Ezekiel Elliott's the best running back in this draft. I say they fill that hole left from Lamar Miller and pull the pressure off of Fitzpatrick a bit.
Tannehill.
Oh, sorry, Tannehill.
He said Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick. Ryan. Yeah, Tannehill. Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know.
I think if the Dolphins, if he fell to them at number 13 without them moving up or anything, and I do think they'll move up to try to get him. I think he is probably, they will run to the podium with their ticket and be overjoyed that he is there at number 13. Number 14, Oakland Raiders. They're a team on the upswing. Now they have cornerback issues. I might have took Ezekiel Elliott if you let me have him, but you took him one spot ahead of me. So I'm going to go to the offensive line. I'm going to go with Jack Conklin from Michigan State. And see, Conklin is a motivator. He will run over the defense. It's not the other way around. So if he doesn't really translate to a left tackle, he could go to a right tackle and be a super right tackle and block for Derek Carr and such and Latavius Murray. But I just feel like, I know we're picking these tackles and people was like, oh man, I should have got cornerback, but I just don't think at this point, this early, I know we're in mid-range, but I don't think there's any that justify that. Maybe Eli Apple, but I'm going to go with Jack Conklin from Michigan State.
I had the Raiders addressing the cornerback issue myself with Eli Apple. But I think if they don't go cornerback, offensive line I think is the next obvious choice. And Jack Conklin, after Tunsil and Stanley, Jack Conklin is the best choice for offensive line. Yeah. So I think if you don't go secondary and you go offensive line, Jack Conklin is the best choice there. 15, Tennessee Titans. The problem that Tennessee Titans have is trading that pick that could have allowed them to draft a better pick from this position. But I think the Tennessee Titans pick the next best offensive lineman in the draft, Taylor Decker.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have, had they been in the spot they were in, which they obviously traded for a reason, or at least you'd like to think so. But if they had the choice for Tunsil or Stanley, they would have gone for one of those. But I think they stick with offensive line. They want to protect Marcus Mariota because he is the future of that team. So I think they pick up Tyler Decker here with number 15.
Yeah, that's well, you knew they were going to take Larry Tunsil, but they got a boatload of picks, and they took a guy that's with Taylor Decker that's not far off in terms of athleticism. I think he'd be a great addition beside, on the same line as Taylor Lewan.
Mm-hmm.
And they get their guy, they pretty much get all these picks for what they traded for and still get a good starting tackle in Taylor Decker. So that's a good pick. And